Thanks, Sonia. Can you go to the next slide, please? So just as we have a check-in, if you can, on your device, go to this Padlet, and you can find that using bit.ly/, the D is capitalized, data feelings. And when you go to that Padlet, you will see 4 images. I just kind of want you to kind of comment on when you think of data, what image comes to mind. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. I see so far we have drowning in the lead. How come nobody's jumping for joy? So a lot of the comments seem to be the drowning. I was surprised. Nobody said jumping for joy. I was kind of hoping that that would all be jumping for joy. But a lot of people said that it's a feeling overwhelmed. Again, it's a lot of data, and trying to figure out where to begin is always very hard. So we're hoping that our office hours today, you will have the time and space to kind of help you see some of the data resources that are available to you, and possibly have some questions to kind of help you feel a little bit less overwhelmed as we show you what data resources that we have. So I'll turn it over to Heigen for the next slide.
Heigen, are you there? Okay, so he may be having some technical difficulties. So today, what we're going to do is go to the 2 places. We want to share with you the Wake County Data Dashboard, and also we plan to go into OASIS and look at the student roster. So this is, as you probably are familiar with, is the Wake ID portal. And you can see by the 2 arrows how you can access either the dashboard or the dashboard, which is here, or OASIS. So we're going to start with the dashboard. So in the Wake Data Dashboard, there are a couple of places where we can look at Wake County perception data. And those would be the student survey, which we generally administer to students in grades 5, 8, and 9. But this past year, we administered the survey to all students in grades 5 through 12, as you know. And then a new dashboard is the Student Family Engagement Survey that we just recently provided to our parents. And so we'll show you what that looks like. And then also another new dashboard is the TWC survey. Unfortunately, yes. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm back home.
Oh, okay. So I was just explaining the data dashboards. And so do you want me to stop sharing and you can go ahead and take the screen?
Well, I'm using my cell data, so I still need to rely on your screen.
Okay. Okay, so I am going to go out of the PowerPoint,
Yeah,
and I'll go over to the dashboard.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are you guys still able to see my screen?
yeah, it works. Still works.
Okay, good. And which dashboard would you like me to go to first, Heigen?
Let's go to the student survey first. I think it's down to the bottom.
Okay. So as you guys can see, there are quite a few dashboards that we have available now. And the one that we're going to focus on first is going to be the student survey.
Yeah, there are quite a few clicks you have to do once you get into the dashboard. And then you can see, uh, the majority of the screen is this long bars. Basically, this is a percentage of agreement um, on the 8 domains or 6 domains in here. We have actually 8, but in this dashboard, we only have 6 listed. So if you go to the right side, survey domains, you can filter, choose one of those that you are focusing on. So you'll get rid some of these data not necessary for you. It just shows one domain if you just choose one. And then you can also filter by school. If you go down a little bit, school name, you can choose your particular school, but you have to uncheck all first, and then select a particular school. For example, Abbott's Creek, the first one. Then it just shows that one school. And there is also ethnicity, race, the second filter. So you can look at, the percentage of agreements of each ethnicity, like particularly for each school. So you just have to combine all the filters to get what you want. Yeah, if you unselect all, then you won't see anything. Yeah, if you choose Black or African American, then you can see their percentage of agreement. I think this is just one school that we just selected, but you can select all of the schools and take a look at their differences. Yeah, and also we have a grade level. Um, I think started from last year, 2018, 19, we had more grade levels surveyed. We started sending surveys to students above 4th grade up to the 13th grade. But before that school year, we only had grade 5, 8, and 9. So, but after 18-19 school year, we have many more grade levels. So, and there is also a filter at the bottom that you can filter by year. So there's 3 years of data here that we uploaded. And then if you just choose one year, you can see there is only 1 year showing up on the graph under survey year on the left side. If you choose all of them, then all of the years will be there for you to look at. And you can compare the differences across years. And one note that I want to make is, if you notice, if you hover your mouse to one bar, it actually tells you, I think sometimes if you can get it work, you might need to click a little bit. Yeah, it actually tells you how many students responded under the number, the second last, above the percentage. So in this case, there are only 6 students responded. It's a very small number, but usually small numbers don't give very good information. So that's just one more little thing that I want to share. That's about the student survey. And if you're interested in what these domains are and what items are under these domains, send us an email. I can give you a copy of the survey so you can look at it.
Yes, and also keep in mind for, as you know, because of during 1920, not all schools had an opportunity to finish administering the survey, although Hagen went ahead and compiled the results, and we did include them here. But so if you see drastic drops for 1920, as you can imagine, that's because of the remote learning that occurred. So I think now what we'll do is open it up for questions. So if you do have a question, you can put that in the chat box and about the student survey before we move on to the next item. Or you can just go ahead. We don't have a lot of people on the call, so you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask any questions that you have about the student survey.
Quick question. Jen
Mhm.
Barber. This is Jen Barber from Roseville Elementary School.
Hi, Jen.
Hi. So when looking at those bars, if I were to filter it just to my school, I still wouldn't, I would only see the overall result. Like I'm not seeing results of individual questions here. Is that what this is? So what are these bars explaining to me about the student survey?
The individual survey items percentage agreement are not here. This is all like I don't know if are you familiar with the survey domains?
No.
Oh, this is so for the student survey, I'll explain a little bit more. For the student survey, all of these 51 items are categorized under multiple domains.
Oh, okay.
There
Yeah.
is teacher relationship, teacher-student relationship, rigor scale, civic engagement, family support, peer support. So for here, this dashboard doesn't have the individual items of the survey. So it's about the domains. Like you can see, there is family support and learning. That domain has, I think, 5 or 6 items. So this percentage of agreement here is an average of the 6 items or 5 items under that domain.
Okay, so we really could drill it down to each domain and look at that instead of just this overall percentage.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
overall for each domain. But if you want to look at the specific items, the percentage of agreement, I actually created the reports and uploaded them to Quicker. That actually has the specific items.
Okay.
Yeah, it's available.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you have trouble finding it, just let me know. I can send you an email explaining more.
Yeah, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
And when we go into OASIS and we look at the roster, you will also, that's where you'll be able to drill down to individual students and look at their responses by domain. And so if you're more interested in, say, a particular group of kids, then you can look at how they responded to this teacher-student relationship domain and if they have a high percentage of agreement or not. So that is in the Soar roster. But thank you for that question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Other questions? I'm going to go to the chat. Is there anything in the chat?
No.
Okay, then, Hagen, what do you want to go to next?
The family engagement survey.
Okay, so when you're navigating in the dashboard, if you go back up to the top where these breadcrumbs are, and just click that where it says Wake Data Dashboards, then it will take you back to all of the dashboards.
Yeah, and it's also right down to the bottom, I think, on the
Oh,
right.
I missed,
Yeah,
I,
just
I
scroll
missed that.
down to get
Okay,
to,
so family engagement.
yeah, family
Okay.
engagement. If you go in there, you can see these bars, different colors. Um, just so you know that this is actually based on a survey to parents or legal guardians of our students. And in this dashboard, we only have like 3 survey items or survey questions um, listed here. The first one is the school is not welcoming to parents. I mean, it's just a statement asking parents their opinion, like, if they had any problems or not, or just some minor problems, or some of them might have very large problems. And you can see the colors, and on top the legends indicating which color means what. And there's 3 questions up there. If you click one of the questions, you can see the responses under this question. And also on the right side, you can filter by school, and also you can choose a particular school, or you can choose grade level. Yeah, if you just choose Abbott's Creek, it just shows Abbott's Creek. And then you can see how parents responded to the item selected. How often do you meet in person with teachers at your child's school? So some of them will say, weekly. That's the dark blue. And on the most left side, almost never. Um, so you can see the percentage of responses by parents or families. And then you can also filter by gender, race, grade level. So I think this is a very good place to go if you want to see how parents are perceiving the interactions between your school, and get an over sense of how parents now feel about their child's school experience and how their interactions with your school and teachers. It's very straightforward, this one. Um, there are actually more items in that family engagement survey, but that's what we decided to put here. Maybe in the future we might put more, but we don't know yet. So yeah, that's about the family engagement survey.
Thank you, Huygens. So again, I will open it up. If you have questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and just ask your question. Is someone talking?
I think this one might be too easy. Somebody has a question.
That's okay. So if there are no questions about the family engagement dashboard, then we will go to the next one. And that is the teacher working conditions survey. So with the teacher working conditions survey, what the dashboard, this particular dashboard focuses on is, as you can see at the top, community support and involvement. And so, and you can see the questions that are included here that you can click on. And the dashboard works primarily the same as the other dashboards. So you, in terms of how you navigate through the dashboard, there's also a list of the schools, so you can look at your own school individually, or you can compare yourself to another school that is very similar to yours. For the survey year, right now there's only, as you know, the teacher working condition survey is administered every other year. And so we do the results of the 1920 TWC is posted on DPI's website, but we have not gotten the raw data file yet. And as soon as we receive that raw data file, then we will post the 1920 results here so that you will be able to compare 1718 to 1920. But again, the dashboard works very similar. And so when we get that additional year, you'll be able to see that here on where the years are listed. There is also, I just clicked at the top at the second tab, there is also the school climate. And there are 3 questions that were included here about an atmosphere of trust and mutual respect. Overall, my school is a good place to work and learn. And the faculty feel that they work in an environment that is safe. And so again, you navigate the same way if you want to look at your school individually, or if you want to compare yourself to another school. And then right now there's only 1718 data in here, but if you probably in a week or two, hopefully in a week or two, we'll have the 1920 data that you can use to compare between the 2 years. I'm not sure if there's going to be other domains added to the TWC, but if it is, or if the plan is to have additional items added, then it will show up here as a 3rd tab or 4th tab, depending on how many other questions will be included. And so that is it for the teacher working conditions survey. Are there any questions? Are there any questions in general about anything that we've talked about so far?
Yes, will the family engagement component be updated to reflect, I guess, next year's data? Because I saw that was just for 18-19, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so once we have those data, then we will, or our technology services team, actually, so these dashboards are created by SIS. And so as we receive the data, we'll provide it to them and they will in turn create the dashboard. So yes, good question. So as the data become available, then it will be added to a new dashboard.
Yeah, I think this current year, the family engagement survey data are probably not finalized yet.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah, it's usually I think communications they do their survey, so we get data from them.
Okay. Other questions about perception data before we move into OASIS? Are you guys feeling fairly comfortable with navigating through the dashboards?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yes, thank you.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to OASIS. You guys tell me if I'm getting off schedule, but isn't OASIS next?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So I clicked on the little snowman. And then once you're in OASIS, do you guys have access? You have access from home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, good. So I'm going to go into DEERS. And when you go, Hagen, am I explaining this or you?
Either way, I can do that, or you can do that too.
Okay, well, I'll just say the beginning. So when you go into OASIS or the DEERS, you can see DEERS, So your teachers actually have access to rosters, and so they can create their own individual rosters. But if you want to look at your school as a whole, then you're going to go under the school reports section, which is the student rosters. And these are the rosters, as you know, that Ann Sylvie, who is on the call today, created and would update for you guys in quicker. And so we're going to go to the school reports under the student rosters.
Yeah.
And so you can see that our assist team has created some individual reports, but the one that we want to take a look at so that you can see who is in your school, because these are current rosters, is the student overview ad hoc, well, it's called Soar, student overview ad hoc report. And remember, the purpose of our call today is to really just look at the perception data. I was gonna make me select the school. Does anyone on the call mind if I use your school? Anyone volunteer? I'm not gonna share any student information.
You can use Rollsville Elementary. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Walnut Creek, either one.
Okay, thank you. So it does, when you guys log in, obviously it does not give you the option of all of these schools, I don't think. Let me just go back 1 second. Oops, sorry. I went back too far. So you can see that there are 2 SOAR reports here. So once the data are updated, this report is the previous year. So the current year would be 1920, which is what you're going to see in this particular SOAR report. But if you wanted to see what happened to your kids in that previous year and their end of EOY, you would click on this particular SOAR report. So the one I'm going into is the one for your current students. Have you guys had a chance to play around in SOAR at all?
I have, yes.
So then you'll, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have a little bit as well.
So then you'll know if you played around in it, it doesn't save your selection. So that's the only little hiccup about the system. So as you go through and you select items, and if you forgot, say, to put in, if you wanted to look at gender, and you forgot to select that item, gender, then when you run your report, it's not going to be there. So you got to go back and go through the process a second time. So Hagen, I'll let you take over from here.
Oh, okay. So if you want to choose among the demographics here, you just click that bar to expand. And then you can see a lot of the options that you can choose as student ID, last name. We probably just choose student ID. So we won't see their names. And we can choose another one, maybe gender.
Let's also choose ethnicity.
Yeah, and also ethnicity. And then if you scroll it down a little bit more, you can see the survey data option. If you click.
Now, I will say this, Hagen, let me jump in.
Mm-hmm.
When I've worked with principals in the past, they said to me, Sonia, this report takes so long to run. And I said, no, it's very quick. It just creates an Excel file for you. Well, what was happening was, instead of going into, like Hagen said, to expand the bar, to click on, to see all of these extra things, what was happening is
they select everything.
They would select this item here, which you see it created checks on all of these things. So remember, if you keep in mind the spreadsheet that you used to receive in Quicker, it's a very big spreadsheet, and that's because it includes all of these variables. So what you have to do is expand and select the things that you really want to see. So it goes back to the question that you want to answer, whatever question it is that you're wanting to answer. And so for here, what we're wanting to do is to look at our perception data for students.
Yeah, we'll select all the student survey items. This
Yes, so
there's 6 of them.
mhm.
And then you can click OK, and then a file will be downloaded to your desktop.
Yes, so what you have to do is to go back up to the top and click on this export to file.
Export the file.
Don't you have to click on what grade levels, or do you not have to do that?
If you
Well, you do, yeah. So I'm sorry, Hagen, I'm taking over.
If you leave it blank, I think it checks all the students. If you want to select a particular grade, then you can choose that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't select the grade. I'm sorry. So that was one of the things that I was saying. So you see, I have this spreadsheet that's created, and I would have said, oh, I didn't pick the grade. And so I would have to start over.
I think it has all the grades. You can take a look, see if it's there.
And also, isn't it, since the survey is only given a 5th grade, wouldn't it just be, I guess it would just be 5th grade anyway, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Hagen.
If the student didn't take the survey, then it just left blank. But the student, it's still there as a row.
So it doesn't. So this did not include the grade. So I guess you do have to select for some of the fields. You do have to select a grade if you want it to see the grades. Now, so for those of you, so for elementary, because we only survey 5th graders, that's all you're going to see. Now, some of you do survey your 3rd and 4th grade. They those results are not. Are they in here, Hagen?
If students answered the surveys, yes, they're all here.
Okay, so I'm going to go back. So this is one of those cases where we're going to start over. I don't want to save this. So then you have to go back to student rosters. We're selecting a school. We're going to select Soar. And tell me if I'm going too fast. So up here, we want to select 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Did you guys at Roseville do 3rd and 4th grade?
I'm not sure. I know 5th grade did it, but I don't know about the other grade levels.
Okay, so we can see. Then we want to, what do we do in demographics?
We chose student ID, gender, and race. Yeah, and then surveys.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and check this survey box because we want all of the domains. But if I only wanted 2 of the domains, then that's where I would expand and just check the 2 that we wanted. Is there anything else you guys would want to see?
That looks good.
Okay, so now we're going to go back to the top and click Export File. And let's see what we have. I still don't see.
Well, it's down. I think it's downloaded to your PC. Yeah, you have to. It doesn't open up automatically, so you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have it open, but I still don't see grades. I mean, yeah, the grade level.
Oh, really?
I don't think we checked to differentiate between the grade levels. We only checked
yeah, that's
student ID and gender.
Yeah,
and we can't see it. Well, all we see is the screen that says your file has been downloaded to your PC.
Oh, sorry. So let me stop sharing. And Let's see how I can get that to come back up.
You would have to have checked the grade level into the demographics for it to show up.
Oh,
The grade level in the demographics?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to start over, but how do I get it to show the Excel file on my screen?
So when you hit present, do present your entire screen, not just a window. That should do it.
Okay. So you guys bear with me. We're going to get this right. Once you figure out, what boxes you should check, then it becomes very easy. Am I convincing you?
Trial and error.
Okay, where is Roseville for the third time? So on demographics, so Ann Silva, you said I need to check it here, right?
Yes.
Can you see Sonia's screen? I think I lost the screen.
No, she's
No,
not
she's not
presenting.
sharing.
Can you see my screen?
No.
Not yet.
Oh, sorry.
You have to present it.
I thought I had this down. My entire screen. Okay. All right, what about now?
Yeah, I can say, yeah.
Okay. So grade level. So here's the grade level.
You
And then
need
we
to plug
want,
in your computer. Otherwise it's gonna go poof.
oh yeah, then I'll lose all of you.
Uh-huh.
Does someone else want to share their screen? Because I have to find an outlet. Oh, I see one. I'm in my family room where my son has been spending most of his time. So as you guys can see, it's extremely junky. Okay. So we got student ID, grade level, and ethnicity. And then we want survey. Anything else?
Yeah, I think for demonstration, probably it's enough. If you select too many, it might slow down.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, are you guys able to see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So here is what you receive. Now, if you create your own file, you would want to check the student's first and last name. And so it would show over here. But I only selected the student ID. And here's the grade level and ethnicity. And then here are the survey domains. Hagen, is there anything you want to say about this?
Yeah, in here, I think you can create filters. Just filter by ethnicity, by grade level. If you have other columns included in the process of downloading this file, you can do that too. So you can create all kinds of filters, combine them to look for the information that you actually want to have. One thing that I want to point out is that you see a lot of blanks. That's because the students did not respond to the survey, so it's just a blank.
So we might would go over here to the grade level, and instead of having all of these, the preschool grades, we would select grade 3, grades 3, 4, and 5. And so this will tell you whether or not you actually, so in this case for Roseville, if you actually administered the survey to 3rd graders or 4th graders. And it doesn't look like you did because there's still blanks.
Yeah, a lot of them are blanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking that we didn't do third or fourth. I thought it was just fifth.
Yeah, and that's all right. Oh, I turned the filter off. So if we go back and filter just on fifth grade. So
Yeah,
now you
now
see.
you can see more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so if you wanted to look at a particular race, to see, if students are responding any differently
Yeah.
than others, then you can do that.
Yeah, you can.
And Heidi, you want to talk about the ranges, like for the grit scale?
Yeah, the ranges, you can see these numbers. I just want to explain what these numbers mean. Basically, for all of the other domains except the grid scale. So Sonia is showing the grid scale. The grid scale has a range from 1 to 5. And all the other domains have a range from 1 to 4. And all these numbers here you see is an average. Because remember, each domain has multiple items, like 6 or 5 items. So if it's a domain with 4 categories from 1 to 4, the range of from 1 to 4, then we actually averaged the student response among all these items under that domain to get this number. I don't know if that makes sense. And for the grid scale, it's a different range. It's from 1 to 5.
Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at this, right now we just have your African American students pulled up. You might want to know, for example, your question might be, how do they feel their relationship is with their teachers? And if there are a couple here who, their average is fairly low when you think about
Yeah.
the scoring. And so
Yeah.
those are students that you might, maybe want to target, quote unquote, or provide some additional support.
Yeah, this is really awesome. Thank you. I'm psyched to learn about this.
Yeah. I want to add a little bit more. So if you see these numbers, for starting from this the E column, if you see a number below 3, you might want to figure out whether the student actually has a problem with certain things in your school. That's how I would see it. Usually, you would ideally want to see it above at least 3. And for the first domain, the grid scale, I would say if it's below 3.5, you might want to investigate. So that's something that I would um, see from these patterns or columns or the numbers. And I'm sure if you might have other questions coming up when you are using the data, so just feel free to email us or call us.
Yeah, so depending on what your question is, we only looked at the perception data, but you can see when you actually go back into the roster, and I'm just going to select a school. You see all of these various categories. And so you can, if you want to look at survey and their academics, then you would want to say, I want to look at maybe for 5th grade, how did the students who scored a level 1 or 2, how did they also respond on the survey? Because maybe if they are not feeling very engaged in school, that might have an effect on their achievement. And so you can do comparisons that way, depending on, again, whatever the question is that you're looking at. So are there any questions about the perception data? Did we, so what we had planned on talking about was the teacher working conditions survey, the family engagement, and student survey. But again, you have our staff, or most of our staff here. So if there are other questions that you want us to look at while you have a captive audience, we're more than willing to answer any questions or show you another database if you want. So we'll open it up to you guys. And you can turn your mics off and just talk, and your camera too if you want to show your face.
This was really helpful. I was familiar with Soar, but I didn't really realize how you could narrow it down so much for like those survey questions. I think that's going to be a big help for us. I'm the school improvement chair, and data is, it's overwhelming for me, at least, to figure out what kind of data to use. So I know that's going to be very helpful to us when we start looking at our needs assessment and data review. So thank you very much.
Good. I live in Roseville, so I would say I could just run down the street, which I literally could, but maybe I could walk to your office if you want, or we could just do a Google Meet.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts about anything? We do have some upcoming office hours. Probably by the time we're done, we'll be very proficient at sharing our screens and doing all of that. But so on June 17th, you can see on the screen, we're going to be looking at CTE, which is mostly at the high school level, the credentials. We're also going to be looking at attendance, on-time graduation, work-based learning, GPA percentages, and then again, any other items. And then you can see on June 24th, we'll have elementary. Will be a focus on elementary data. So if you guys want to log back in, you can certainly do that. And then July 1st will be secondary data that we'll specifically concentrate on. So if there are no questions or anything in the chat, we'll stay on the line, but if you don't want to be on the line, you can log yourself off. And we appreciate you guys coming in, and thank you for your patience for allowing us to fumble our way through in this new environment. Thank you, Huygen.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, everybody.